Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My dad is a textbook narcissist. I, 25 female, have always had a turbulent relationship with my dad, but an insanely protective older sister. To paint a very small picture, I had not seen or spoken to him for 4 years, 2019. Saw him briefly when visiting my stepmom, his now ex-wife, and sisters in 2023. Then no contact up until last month, 2025. My 3 younger sisters, let's name them Abby, 17, May, 15, and Beth, 12, are also finally starting to see him for the awful man he is. He has no relationship with Abby, due to a very sad and serious string of events that's happening, which I won't be touching on today. He's constantly trying to hurt her by refusing to talk to her, not inviting her to large family gatherings, and just downright talking straight up crap and lying about her to our family. He's done this to me also, so I will always have my sister's back against him. Beth couldn't care less if she sees him or not, due to his lack of presence as a parent. May is currently struggling with the love she has for him and the constant heartbreak, disappointment, and toxic controlling behaviors he displays to her. She's in the midst of trying to break free from him completely, but he unfortunately holds a very large amount of money that she earned by working 2 jobs to save for a car, and a bank account that only he had access to. This is a work in progress. During my no contact with my dad, life without him had been great, until I received a message from him out of the blue. He had been going to therapy and wanted to talk over the phone. During this conversation, I set boundaries on what I wouldn't feel comfortable talking to him about. This ended up being broken in our 30-minute phone call, which, whilst it rattled me a little bit, went relatively fine, and I went on about my life, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something behind all of this. A few weeks later, he called me again. This time, he wanted to tell me that his new girlfriend proposed to him and that he would love for me and my partner to be at his wedding. Aw, lucky man. 3rd time's a charm, they say. But there was just one boundary. It's a condition. I had to apologize to an aunt I hadn't spoken to since I was 18 years old for something, if I wanted to go to the wedding, because she is the one who is planning it. But he apparently doesn't know what I've done wrong. I won't be going, as honestly, I couldn't give a crap about going to his wedding since he won't be at mine. But I just agreed, congratulated him, and that was the end of the call. I later came to find out the dates he booked for his wedding, which is when everything fell into place, and it all made sense. He booked his wedding at SeaWorld, so tacky, to be appealing to my 2 younger sisters, and dangled the idea of seeing all my cousins in front of their noses. Meanwhile, the dates are between the 28th of July this year to the 1st of August. Abby's 18th birthday is the 31st of July. Turns out, May had expressed her concerns prior to him booking anything, saying she would love to be there for his wedding, but wanted him to be mindful that Abby's 18th birthday was coming up, and that it was really important for her that she could celebrate with her older sister. But he booked it anyway. This dude's really out here manipulating my little sisters into choosing between being around for Abby's 18th birthday or his 3rd wedding. Unfortunately, this is very on brand of my dad. He married my stepmom on my mom's birthday, which she spent alone, as I was the flower girl in his 2nd failed marriage. As you can imagine, the girls are heartbroken. But after a few days of thinking and him randomly showing up at Beth's classroom unannounced, looking to get an answer straight away if she would be attending or not, both girls decided they will not be attending his wedding because this is his 3rd marriage and Abby only turns 18 once. I always used to say that everything he does will come back to bite him. I couldn't be prouder of my baby sisters. I think I already know the answer to my question, as I'm really here just to spill some tea. But am I the a-hole for not attending my dad's wedding? Wow, totally not the a-hole. It seems to me that OP has been a good example for her sisters. They all made the best decision. And Abby's 18th birthday is way more important than OP's dad's 3rd wedding, as I have no doubt there's going to be a 4th one as well. I don't understand why some parents choose to do things like this to their kids, and then go all Pikachu face when the kids don't really want a relationship anymore. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Just be really mindful of this for your sister who has the bank account set up with him. He could use this as some kind of compensation and revenge for her not attending. So I'll use her money for my wedding. Alarm bells going off. If you can, please try to get a lawyer involved. If she was the one who legally earned the money, then hopefully he can be made to legally transfer it to an account she has access to, or he can be made to suffer, legally. Not the a-hole. You reap what you sow. Imagine intentionally hurting your daughter just because you can. He is the adult. You should all go out together to celebrate Abby's 18th birthday and make it a wonderful memory. He can have his tacky wedding at SeaWorld. Not the a-hole, but he is a mega a-hole. Betraying and manipulating his own child is sick and demented. He's no father, nor husband for that matter. You and your siblings deserve better. Good for you all uniting to save yourselves instead of giving in to his narcissistic tendencies. A little backstory first. My 48 male, sister-in-law, 45 female, moved in with my wife, 47 female, myself and our 3 kids, 18 male, 16 female, and 13 male, a few months ago due to her being kicked out of her old place. I have a job that pays me well and allows me to spoil my children, but they all know the value of $1. However, every week my wife and I give them $50 to spend on what they want as allowance, and they can earn more by doing chores. My sister-in-law has a job that gives her enough income for her to live comfortably, and she's supposed to be saving some to get a new place while living with us. Well, last week, my sister-in-law heard my eldest son talking to his mother and I about what chores he can do to earn $75. And she asked us if we actually gave our children that much money, and that it was too much money for children to have. And we told her that they were our children, and we could give them however much we see fit to give them. I thought she dropped it, but I was wrong. Last night, my youngest son came to me and told me that his aunt had demanded he give her $40 from his money so she could go buy something. When he told her no, she apparently started screaming at him that he was an ungrateful brat and tried to grab his wallet and take the money. Immediately, I went to my 2 older children and asked them if she had ever asked or told them to give her money, to which my daughter responded that her aunt had asked her a couple of weeks beforehand if she could have $50, and my son told me that she had asked, but he always shut her down immediately, telling her he was saving for a car. After hearing this, I went to my sister-in-law and told her to get her stuff and get out of my house, and that she was no longer allowed in it if she thinks it's okay to steal money from my kids, yell at my kids, and call them mean names. My wife thinks I went about it the wrong way, but that was overall right. But her family thinks I was an a-hole for kicking her out and refusing to allow her in, and said that my children should have just given her the money because family helps family. So am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law she's no longer allowed at my house when she told my children to give her money? Not the a-hole. Toxic people don't have any right to stay in your life just because of your relationship to them. Not the a-hole. Apparently, it's okay if your family helps family, but they don't seem to be going out of their way to help your sister-in-law. Let them take a turn at housing her and see how it goes. Not the a-hole. I can't believe this grown woman had the audacity to try and demand, steal money from children. Someone else's children for that matter, in a home their parents generously allowed them to stay at for free. You did the right thing. Your wife is being a bit unfair for thinking you handled it poorly, but I think it's just because she knew her family was going to make a fuss, and I'm sure they're harassing her about it. As for the rest of the a-holes in the family, be sure to let them know you'll gladly reach out to your sister-in-law and let them know they're concerned for her and want to help her. Watch how quickly they'll change their story once it's them housing or financially assisting her. This is going to be a long one. I've been married to my wife for 8 years now. She has 1 daughter from a previous relationship, and I have 1 son from my ex-wife. My son has lived with his mom since the divorce, and he comes to stay with me about once a month. I'd love for him to come more, but it is a 2-hour drive from where he lives with my ex. My stepdaughter has been living with me since she was about 11. We are close since I have seen her grow up through her teen years. My son is turning 16 this month, and my stepdaughter, who lives with me and my wife, is 19. My stepdaughter still has a relationship with her father, though he does not make a ton of money. My wife is self-employed and does okay, but I make substantially more than both of them combined. So a year ago, my wife approached me with the idea of getting her daughter a car for high school graduation. She said that her ex and her were going in on it together and were able to pay about $4,000 each. My wife's ex found a 2016 Ford Focus that was $10,000. I offered to help them out and throw $2,000 of my money. We got her the car, and she loved it. Now my son is turning 16, and his mom approached me with the idea of getting him a car. I thought it was a great idea, and maybe that way he'd come see me more. We have been looking at some 2020 VW Golfs, Kia Souls, that run about $20,000. My ex and I agreed that this would be a reasonable price for us to split. When I told my wife about it, she was a little upset, claiming that if I'm willing to spend 10 grand on my son, maybe I could have spent a little bit more on her daughter's car. I told her that her and her ex came up with their budget for the car for their daughter, and my ex and I came up with the budget for our son, and that I personally think I was generous to throw an extra $2,000 for Stepdaughter's car when my wife wasn't pitching in for my son's. I don't know why, just because I have more money, I should have to pay more for her daughter's car? I also don't think her daughter's situation should affect my son's situation. I told her that at the end of the day, we are paying for what we could each afford on our own kids. And if it's not equal, then that's life. She's still kinda pissed, but I have no intention of spending less on my son or giving my stepdaughter X amount of money to make up for the difference. Am I the a-hole? No a-hole. I understand both of your reasonings. Your extra money to your stepdaughter was a bonus gift to her. Your gift to your son was a totally split price between you and your ex. You didn't ask your wife to go in on it. I don't think that makes you an a-hole. Your wife, on the other hand, is looking at the raw numbers and is upset you're spending more on your son, which also makes sense. I don't think she's an a-hole either. I'm not sure of a good solution other than reassuring your wife that this doesn't mean you love your son $8,000 more than your stepdaughter. Not the a-hole. Your wife and her ex are the ones who came up with the car budget for your stepdaughter, and they chose the amount they asked you to pitch in. If they wanted you to pitch in more, they should have involved you in the budgeting decision. Also, if you had pitched in more for stepdaughter's car, it probably would have made her bio dad feel terrible that he couldn't give that much. It sounds like he is an involved father, just doesn't have much disposable income. Not the a-hole. Your wife didn't say, "We're trying to get D a car. How much can you contribute?" They said, "Here's a $10,000 car." They had $8,000, and you offered the $2,000. A year later, your son needs a car, and you and your ex had the same conversation. Here's a $20,000 car. You have the $20,000. Your wife contributes nothing. My stepson, 19 male, recently asked his father to grant permission for his girlfriend of about a year to spend the weekend. He has asked in the past, and we have always said no. We're not a conservative family by any means, but we do not approve of two teenagers spending the night doing who knows what. We all know what. Under our roof. We think it's disrespectful. Yes, even if she were in the guest room, which my stepson has mentioned, any adult would be dumb to assume they would stay in their respective rooms when everyone else goes to sleep. I do not want an unwanted pregnancy on my hands. So anyway, I was in the living room when I overheard my stepson asking my husband in the kitchen if his girlfriend can spend the weekend. Husband says, "No, sorry. You know the rules as always." Stepson then says it's his girlfriend's birthday and they have plans in the morning to celebrate. Some birthday breakfast with friends. So he wants permission just this one time. I don't even know if this is true or just an excuse. Then husband says he's not sure if it's a good idea because of the you-know-what virus. Stepson says that's not a fair excuse because his girlfriend has been coming over almost daily, before, during, and after the virus blew out of control. So she's basically part of our personal bubble now. I decided I heard enough, so I walked in the kitchen and told my stepson to drop the subject, that he had his answer, and it was the same answer he was going to get for as long as he was under our roof and following our rules. My stepson said this rule was stupid. I then said he clearly wasn't old enough to have sleepovers with his girlfriend, just showing by his maturity. My stepson then asked me how old exactly I was when I decided I was mature enough to have sleepovers with his dad. My husband actually snickered when he said that, but then told him to chill out. I was livid and told him his girlfriend would not be coming over to visit anymore, let alone sleep over, until he could learn some respect. My son called me a hypocritical bee and left to his room. My husband calmed me down and told me he would ask his son to apologize, but that he thinks a simple no to the sleepover would have sufficed. I doubt he will end up apologizing. My husband tends to baby his grown son and not make him take responsibility for his actions. I think my punishment is fitting, but I thought I might as well get a second opinion. Am I the a-hole? Edit, because people keep asking. I am 24, married my husband at 18. My stepson was 13 at the time. I know the situation seems shady, but I knew what I was getting into and always tried to be civil to my stepson, but have never received it in return. His bio mom is still in the picture and constantly feeds my stepson horrible things about me, that I'm a W, homewrecker, gold digger, etc. So everyone calling me that can save it. I've heard it all before. I make my own money and contribute to household expenses because I want to. I never directly told my stepson he would lose his inheritance at any point. My husband told me my stepson would certainly think twice before cutting us off if he wants that inheritance. His words, not mine. You're the a-hole. He's 19. You're pretty naive if you think he's not already having S with his girlfriend, sleepover or not. You're the a-hole. They're having S. You're not preventing pregnancies by not allowing two adults to have S under your roof. You're actually increasing the odds of higher risk S. You're treating him like he's 15, not 19. 19 is technically a teenager, but he's not a kid anymore. In addition to that, it really wasn't necessary for you to barge in on their conversation. Dad was handling it. Why did you think you needed to sweep in and take control? Do you often do that? Do you not trust your husband to handle matters? If you had not involved yourself in a situation that, again, your husband was already dealing with, it never would have escalated in the first place. Just reading that you were 18 and he was 13 when you moved in with his dad. Ew. This is more big sister territory than mom. You keep pushing this demand he respects me agenda. So my question is, what have you done to earn his respect? I am curious if you were the cause of his parents' split. This certainly wouldn't make him respect you. It really doesn't show good sense for an 18-year-old to be moving in with a much, much older man with a child nearly her age. That certainly wouldn't make him respect you. So I guess before you go demanding respect, you might make sure that you have earned it with your actions. Your double standard, after all, he is 1 year older than you were, almost comes across as jealousy. I'm going with you're the a-hole for the way you flew off the handle. You seem a little too invested in teenage son's S life. Me and my girlfriend, Corey, both 27, have been together 5 years. I've known her family for a long time and have formed a good relationship with her dad. We both golf and watch sports together. I consider him a friend. Like 3 years ago, it came out, third party, that Corey's mom was having an affair. Her dad moved out and her mom went nuts. I was staying out of it, but I refused to accompany Corey to her mom's house. I don't duck with cheaters and let her go alone unless it was a big holiday or important event at her mom's. This whole time, Corey was pushing her dad to reconcile with her mom. She begged him to try counseling and talked about forgiveness. I don't know what happened, but Corey's dad eventually gave in and went to counseling. They reconciled 2 years ago. Then it became this weird situation where Corey's mom seemed to enjoy bringing up her affair. She would post on social media how forgiveness and the church brought them back together, constantly talking about power of prayer. As a man, I could see her dad hated it. In my opinion, he was only sticking around for the sake of the family. In February this year, Corey's dad left in the middle of the night. According to Corey's mom, her dad told me he left a note. He moved in with a woman he had been seeing. They are now divorced and Corey's dad is living with this woman. I've maintained my relationship with him. I told him I can't really blame him as he was in a no-win situation. Corey, on the other hand, has been a nightmare. She's blocked her dad, bashes him to friends and family, gets mad at me for carrying on a relationship with him. She also goes to her mom's house regularly to comfort her mom. None of this she did to her mom whenever she cheated years ago, instead saying that they worked past that together. Last night I called her a hypocrite in front of her brother, saying that she never blamed her mom, instead preached forgiveness, never cut her mom off, and never forced me to stop talking to her dad. She never went over to her dad's rental alone to comfort him, only pushed him to reconcile. She then demanded I stop talking to her dad. I said I'm an adult who doesn't let others dictate their relationships, that me and her dad do not discuss her in any form. We talk baseball. So no, I wouldn't stop because she wants to be a hypocrite and not hold her mom accountable for what happened. I recommended therapy for her, but was called an a-hole for this. I don't think I need to apologize, as calling her a hypocrite was accurate. Am I the a-hole? Everyone sucks here. Corey's mom, for cheating and thinking things can't just go back to normal, but dwelling on the whole situation. She also sucks for being blind to what was going on with her husband. Corey's dad, for cheating, and then moving in with the other woman. If he left in the middle of the night and moved in with the woman he had been seeing, you think he wasn't cheating? I almost wonder if payback wasn't on his mind. Corey, for not owning up to what's been going on and taking sides when it appears that both parents have fidelity and other issues. You, for siding with Corey's dad when it appears he was probably cheating on Corey's mom, but saying Corey is a hypocrite when she downplayed her mom's cheating. You're the a-hole. It's weird how you start out saying, "I stayed out of it," and then proceed to describe how you did not, in fact, stay out of it. Everyone sucks here. So you don't duck with cheaters, but you're cool with the dad after he had an affair? That's hypocritical. He did have a choice. Divorce, then find someone to date. You're doing exactly what your girlfriend did, but with the other party. My sister has always been a wedding person, as in she's dreamed and planned her wedding even before meeting her boyfriend. Now that she's engaged, she wants it all. Expensive cinematic venue, guest list in the hundreds, designer dress, etc. And she cares a lot about being the first and making everything special and just hers. I legitimately have nothing against that, and I'm happy that she's getting what she wants. The issue arose because my boyfriend planned an anniversary getaway to a tropical island that happens to be where my sister planned to honeymoon. I had no idea that she was planning to go there. They hadn't actually booked anything. She had just planned on it. And I didn't know until I shared the news with my family during a bi-weekly dinner we have together. Additionally, this was a surprise trip planned and paid for by my boyfriend, who would absolutely have no way of knowing my sister's plans. He's not close with her or her fiancé. She says that if I go there first, I'll take away the surprise and specialness of the destination, and is insisting that I cancel or change the destination. I'm pretty upset and called her entitled because there's no way I'm going to tell my boyfriend to change something very nice he did for me. My sister is now threatening to remove me from the wedding if I don't change my vacation, and my parents are begging me to give in to keep the peace. My boyfriend has offered to pick a new location because he hates seeing me upset and fighting with family. So I'm wondering if I'm being the a-hole for being so stubborn about it all. Not the a-hole. Why should you have to cater to her insane behavior? She thinks no one can visit her honeymoon destination before her? That is ridiculous. Not the a-hole. Personally, I'd skip the wedding. She sounds like a pain in the butt. Hey guys, I'm getting married in like 7 years, and I'm gonna be breathing, walking, and eating food at my wedding. And I really deserve it to be my special day. So, the whole world needs to stop doing all of these things until then. Please, because I don't want anyone to steal my spotlight, okay? Yes, all 7.8 billion of you. After all, I've dreamed of this day since I was a little girl, so I should get it the way I want it. Thanks. Not the a-hole.